Tejo stood at the edge of the landing pad, watching the alien ship come down from the sky. The ship was strange and beautiful. It looked like it was made of glass and metal that moved like water. He had never seen anything like it before. The morning sun of Kepler 442b made the ship shine with colors that changed as it moved. Tejo felt his heart beat fast. Today was the day humans would meet the aliens who lived on this planet. Today was the day that would change everything. "Remember what we talked about," said Park Boram, walking up beside him. She was the leader of their colony. Her voice was calm, but Tejo could see she was nervous too. "Be polite. Be careful. We need these aliens to like us if we want to stay here." Tejo nodded. He was a scientist who studied alien life. For 3 years he had dreamed of this moment. The humans had been on this planet for 6 months now, but they had only seen the aliens from far away. The aliens had finally agreed to meet face to face. "What if something goes wrong?" asked Lee Sungmin. He was the head of security for the colony. He always expected trouble. "What if they attack us?" "They won't attack," Tejo said. "They sent us messages. They want peace. They are just careful like us." The alien ship landed with no sound. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a door opened in the side of the ship. Light came out, but it was not like human light. It was soft and blue and seemed to dance. The first alien stepped out. Tejo held his breath. The reports from the scouts had said the aliens looked like big insects. They had said the aliens were scary to look at. But the being walking toward them was nothing like that. She was tall, taller than any human. Her skin looked like it was made of crystal, but it was soft crystal that bent and moved. Light seemed to come from inside her, making patterns that flowed across her body like slow lightning. The patterns were blue and green and silver, and they changed as she walked. Her face was not human, but it was not frightening either. Her eyes were large and dark like deep pools of water. Her features were sharp but graceful. When she moved like a dancer, like water flowing down a hill. "That's their leader," Boram whispered. "Velanira." Remember bow when she gets close, but Tejo was not thinking about bowing. He was thinking about how wrong the scouts had been. This alien was not scary. She was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. Velanira stopped 10 feet away from the humans. The light patterns on her skin slowed down and became more blue than green. She lifted one hand in what looked like a greeting. "Welcome," she said. Her voice came from a small device on her chest that changed her words into human language. Her real voice sounded like music, like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "We are happy to meet you at last." Boram stepped forward and bowed. "Thank you for agreeing to meet with us. We are honored to be here on your world." "Our world is large," Velanira said. "There is room for both our people, if we can learn to understand each other." Boram smiled. "That's exactly what we hope for. This is Kim Tejo. He will be your guide today. He knows more about your people than anyone else in our colony." Tejo stepped forward. Up close, he could see that Velanira's skin was not really crystal. It was something else, something alive. The light patterns were not just pretty colors. They seemed to show what she was feeling, like human faces showed emotions. "Hello," he said, and bowed like Boram had done. "I'm very happy to meet you." The light patterns on Velanira's skin changed. They became brighter and moved faster. "You study our people," she said. "What have you learned?" "Not enough," Tejo said honestly. "I've watched your cities from far away. I've seen how you build things that grow instead of being made. I've seen how you work together like parts of the same mind. But I don't understand how you do it. Perhaps today you will learn more," Velanira said. The patterns on her skin became gold and green. "Will you show me how humans live?" For the next hour, Tejo walked with Velanira through the human colony. He showed her their houses, their farms, their workshops. She asked many questions about how humans did things. She seemed most interested in how humans made decisions. "Each human chooses for themselves?" she asked when Tejo explained how their government worked. "Yes, mostly," Tejo said. "We talk about big decisions together, but each person can think what they want." The light patterns on Velanira's skin turned purple and white. "This is very strange to us. We decide things together as one mind." They stopped at the edge of the colony, where they could see the alien city in the distance. The alien city looked like it had grown from the ground instead of being built. It had tall spires that curved like plants reaching for the sun. "Your city is amazing," Tejo said. "How did you make it grow like that?" "We did not make it grow," Velanira said. "We asked it to grow and it chose to become what you see." Tejo stared at her. The city is alive? All things are alive in their way, she said. Your people have not learned this yet. They stood in silence for a moment, watching the alien city. The light patterns on Velanira's skin moved slowly, like calm waves. Tejo found himself watching the patterns instead of the city. They were so graceful, so peaceful. Everything about this alien woman was graceful. You know, he said without thinking, you're really beautiful. The moment the words left his mouth, everything changed. The light patterns on Velanira's skin went out completely. For a second, she looked like a statue made of gray crystal. Then the patterns came back, but they were different. They were deep purple and blue, and they pulsed like a heart beating too fast. Liquid began to flow from Velanira's large eyes. It looked like tears, but it glowed with the same light as her skin. What did you say? She whispered. Tejo felt confused and scared. I said you were beautiful. I'm sorry if that was wrong. Velanira made a sound that might have been crying or might have been something else. The translator device could not change it into human words. Beautiful, she repeated. The word sounded different when she said it. It sounded like sadness and fear and something else Tejo could not name. I didn't mean to upset you, he said quickly. In human culture, beautiful is a good thing. It means something is nice to look at, something that makes you happy. But Velanira was backing away from him. The light patterns on her skin were getting darker and darker. You do not understand, she said. Her voice was shaking. You do not understand what you have said. Before Tejo could ask what he had done wrong, Velanira turned and ran back toward her ship. She moved faster than any human could move, like a deer running from a hunter. Tejo stood alone at the edge of the colony, watching her go. He did not understand what had happened. He had meant to give her a compliment. Instead, he had somehow hurt her badly. In the distance, he could see other aliens coming out of their city. They were moving toward the human colony, and they did not look happy. Something told Tejo that his simple compliment had just caused a very big problem. The emergency meeting started 1 hour after Velanira ran away. Tejo sat at the long metal table in the colony's main building, feeling like he was on trial. Around him sat the colony's leaders, all looking worried and angry. What exactly did you say to her? Asked Park Borum. She was trying to stay calm, but Tejo could hear the stress in her voice. I told her she was beautiful, Tejo said for the 3rd time. That's all. I was trying to be nice. Lee Sung-min hit the table with his hand. Nice, look what your nice has done. He pointed out the window toward the alien city. In the distance, they could see lights moving back and forth. The aliens were clearly upset about something. We don't know if it's about what I said, Tejo tried to argue, but even he didn't believe that anymore. The door opened and Choi Da-eun hurried in. She was the colony's expert on alien languages and culture. Her face was pale and she carried a tablet computer in her shaking hands. I've been going through all our data on their culture, she said, sitting down hard in a chair. I think I know what happened. Everyone looked at her. Boram leaned forward. Tell us. Da-eun looked at her tablet. In their language, the word that translates to beautiful is only used in one situation. It's only used to describe the dead. The room went quiet. Tejo felt his stomach drop. What do you mean, the dead? Boram asked. In their culture, beauty is something that only comes with completion, Da-eun explained. They believe that living things cannot be beautiful because they are still changing, still becoming something else. Only when something dies and stops changing can its true beauty be seen. Sung-min stood up fast. So he told her he wanted her to die? No, Da-eun said quickly. Not exactly. But in their culture, calling someone beautiful is like cursing them. It's like saying you want them to stop living so you can see their final beauty. Tejo put his head in his hands. I didn't know. How could I know? This is exactly why I said this was a bad idea, Sung-min said, walking back and forth. We don't understand these aliens. We can't live with them safely. Before anyone could answer, an alarm started ringing. The door burst open and a security guard ran in. Sir, the guard said to Sung-min, we have a problem. There's a group of aliens coming toward the colony. A lot of them. They all rushed to the windows. In the distance, a group of about 20 aliens was walking toward the human settlement. Even from far away, they could see that the light patterns on the alien's skin were dark colors, purples and blacks and deep reds. Get everyone inside, Boram ordered. Lock down the colony. But before anyone could move, one of the aliens separated from the group. This alien was much older looking than Velanira. His skin was darker and the light patterns moved very slowly. He walked up to the main building and stopped just outside. I am Catharon. His voice came through the building's communication system. His translator made his voice sound deep and sad. I speak for our people. Send out the human who cursed our daughter. Boram and Teho looked at each other. Daughter? Boram whispered. He means Velanira, Dayun said. In their culture, all members of their community are like family. What do they want with me? Teho asked. Dune looked at her tablet again, reading fast. According to what I'm finding here, when someone curses another person in their culture, the cursor has to face punishment. The punishment is... She stopped reading and looked up with wide eyes. What? Boram demanded. Death, Dayun whispered. They want to kill him. The communication system crackled again. Kethron's voice filled the room. Send out the human who spoke death words to Velanira, or all humans will leave our world. You have 1 hour. The connection cut off. Sungmin turned to Boram. We have to give him what he wants. We can't fight them and we can't leave this planet. We've put too much work into this colony. No, Teho said, standing up. I won't let you give me to them just because I made a mistake. It wasn't just a mistake, Sungmin shot back. You threatened one of their people. I didn't threaten anyone, Teho shouted. I said something nice about her. In my culture, beautiful is a good word. But we're not in your culture, Boram said quietly. We're in theirs. Dawn was still reading from her tablet. Wait, she said. There's more here. It says that in the old days their people used to have trials. The accused could defend themselves by explaining their actions. What kind of trial? Boram asked. A trial of understanding, Dayun read. If the accused can prove they meant no harm and can show they understand their mistake, they might be forgiven. Teho felt a small hope grow in his chest. I can do that. I can explain that I meant no harm. It's dangerous, Sungmin warned. What if they don't believe you? What choice do we have? Teho asked. Either I try to explain or you hand me over to be killed or we abandon the colony. Boram was quiet for a long moment. Outside they could see the aliens waiting. The light patterns on their skin were getting darker. I'll go talk to them, she finally said. No, Teho said. This is my problem. I should face it. You're not going alone, Boram decided. Da'un, you're coming with us. If we're going to have a trial of understanding, we need someone who knows their culture. They prepared quickly. Da'un printed out everything she could find about alien customs and laws. Teho changed into his best clothes. Sungmin wanted to send armed guards, but Boram said that would make things worse. When they walked out of the building, Kethron was standing exactly where he had been before. Up close, he was even more impressive than Velanira had been. He was at least 7 feet tall, and his crystal-like skin was marked with lines that looked like scars. The light patterns on his skin were so dark they were almost black. I am Park Boram, leader of this colony, Boram said, bowing. This is Kim Teho, who spoke to Velanira. And this is Choi Dayun, who studies your culture. Kethron looked at each of them with his large dark eyes. When his gaze fell on Teho, the young man felt like he was being judged by something much older and wiser than himself. You cursed our daughter with death words, Kethron said to Teho. Why should you not pay the price for this crime? Teho took a deep breath. Because I didn't mean to curse her. In my culture, the word beautiful is not about death. It's about life and happiness and good things. The light patterns on Kethron's skin pulsed once very slowly. Your culture does not matter here. You spoke words in our world among our people. Our laws apply. But I didn't know your laws, Teho said. How can you punish someone for breaking a law they didn't know existed? For the first time, Kethron seemed uncertain. The light patterns on his skin changed from black to very dark blue. Dayun stepped forward. Honored elder, she said, bowing very low. My studies show that your people once had trials of understanding for situations like this. We request such a trial. Kethron was quiet for a long moment. Behind him, the other aliens whispered to each other in their musical language. A trial of understanding has not been called for many years, he finally said. It is an old law, almost forgotten. But it is still law. Boram asked, another long pause. Then Kethron nodded slowly. It is still law, but if the human fails the trial, the punishment will be twice as severe. And if he fails, all humans must leave our world forever. Teho felt his mouth go dry, but he nodded. I accept. The trial will be tomorrow at sunset, Kethron announced. The human must prove 3 things. First, that he meant no harm. Second, that he understands what his words meant to us. Third, that he truly values life over death. The old alien turned to go, then stopped. One more thing. Velanira has been declared death-touched by your words. She cannot speak for herself or against you. She is now like the walking dead among our people. With that, Kethron and the other aliens walked away, leaving the 3 humans standing alone outside their colony. What have we gotten ourselves into? Boram whispered. Tejo watched the aliens disappear into the distance. Somewhere among them was Velanira, the beautiful alien woman who was now considered dead because of his words. He had one day to figure out how to prove that calling someone beautiful was not a death curse. One day to save not just his own life but the future of all humans on this world. One day to somehow undo the damage done by a single, simple compliment. Tejo could not sleep that night. He sat in the colony's library surrounded by books and computer screens, trying to understand how humans and aliens could see the same word so differently. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Velanira's face when he had called her beautiful. The way her light patterns had gone dark. The way she had cried. Dayun had been working all night too. She had spread papers and tablets across 3 tables, reading everything they had about alien culture. Her eyes were red from tiredness, but she kept reading. I think I'm starting to understand, she said around dawn. Look at this. She showed Tejo a drawing that one of their robots had made while watching the aliens from far away. It showed aliens gathered around something on the ground. The light patterns on their skin were bright and colorful. This is a funeral, Daun explained. When one of their people dies, they all come together, and their skin lights up with beautiful colors. They call it seeing the final beauty. It's the only time they ever use that word. Tejo studied the picture. So for them, beauty only comes at the end of life? Exactly. They believe that living things are always changing, always becoming something new. They can't be beautiful because they're not finished yet. Only death stops the changing and lets them see the complete final form. That's so sad, Tejo said. They never get to see beauty in themselves while they're alive. The door opened and Han Jiwoo walked in. She was the colony's head engineer and she looked worried. Behind her came Yoon Hee-jin, the medical officer. We need to talk, Jiwoo said, sitting down at the table. The whole colony is talking about what happened yesterday. People are scared. Scared of what? Tejo asked. Scared of making the same mistake you did, Hee-jin said, but not in a mean way. If saying the wrong word can cause this much trouble, how can we ever live safely with these aliens? Some people think we should just pack up and leave, Jiwoo added. Sungmin is telling everyone that it's too dangerous to stay. Tejo felt his heart sink. It was just a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding that might get you killed, Hee-jin pointed out. And if the trial goes wrong, all of us have to leave. I won't let that happen, Tejo said firmly. I'll find a way to make them understand. Daun looked up from her papers. I've been thinking about what Kethron said. You have to prove 3 things. That you meant no harm, that's easy. That you understand what your words meant to them. We can do that now. But the 3rd thing, that I value life over death, Tejo finished. How do I prove that? By showing them the human way of seeing beauty, Daun said. By helping them understand that humans find beauty in living things, growing things, changing things. Jiwoo leaned forward. What do you mean? In human culture, we call babies beautiful, even though they're just starting life, Dayun explained. We call flowers beautiful even though they'll die in a few days. We call sunsets beautiful even though they're just moments that pass quickly. We find beauty in things that are alive and temporary, Hee-jin said, understanding, not just in things that are finished and permanent. Exactly, Tejo said, feeling excited for the first time since yesterday. Maybe I can show them that there are different ways to see beauty. But before they could plan more, another alarm started ringing. They all ran to the windows and saw something that made them gasp. A single alien was walking toward the colony. But this alien was different from the others they had seen. This alien's skin was completely dark. No light patterns at all. They moved slowly, like they were very tired or very sick. Is that Velanira? Hee-jin asked. Dayun grabbed her tablet and zoomed in on the approaching figure. Yes, that's her. But something's wrong. Her skin should have light patterns. Maybe that's what death-touched means, Tejo said quietly. Maybe when someone is cursed, their light goes out. They watched as Velanira stopped outside the main building. She stood there for several minutes, not moving. Finally, Taeho could not wait anymore. "I'm going out there," he said. "That's a bad idea," Jiwoo warned. "What if it's a trap?" "She's alone and she's hurt because of what I said," Taeho replied. "I have to try to help." He walked outside slowly, his hands visible so Velanira would know he was not carrying weapons. As he got closer, he could see that she looked terrible. Her crystal-like skin was gray and dull. Her large eyes were sad and tired. "Velanira?" he said gently. "Are you okay?" She looked at him with those dark eyes. "You should not speak to me," she said. Her voice was flat and lifeless. "I am death-touched. Speaking to me will only bring you more trouble." "I don't care about trouble," Taeho said. "I care that you're hurt because of something I said." "You do not understand," she said. "My people will not speak to me. They will not look at me. To them I am already dead." Taeho felt anger rise in his chest, not at Velanira, but at a culture that could treat someone so badly over a misunderstanding. "You're not dead," he said firmly. "You're standing here talking to me. You're alive." For the first time, a tiny spark of light appeared on Velanira's skin, just for a moment, then it went out again. "My people say that your words have marked me for death," she said. "They say that I cannot be part of the community anymore because I carry death with me." "That's not fair," Taeho said. "I didn't mean to mark you for anything. I just thought I thought you looked nice." The word beautiful hung in the air between them, unspoken but understood. Velanira was quiet for a long moment. Then she said something that surprised him. "What does that word mean to your people? When you said I was—" "That word, what did you mean?" Taeho thought carefully before answering. "It means you made me happy to look at you. It means I thought you moved gracefully and your light patterns were pretty. It means I saw something in you that made me feel good." Another small spark of light appeared on her skin. "You saw beauty in me while I was alive?" "Yes," Taeho said. "Humans see beauty in all kinds of living things. We think babies are beautiful. We think flowers are beautiful. We think people are beautiful when they're happy or sad or angry or excited. But how can something be beautiful if it is not finished?" Velanira asked. "How can you see true beauty in something that might change tomorrow?" Taeho smiled. "Maybe that's exactly why we find it beautiful. Because it's alive and changing and full of possibilities." More lights began to appear on Velanira's skin. They were very faint, but they were there. "I do not understand this idea," she said. "But when you said that word to me, I felt something I had never felt before." "What did you feel?" "I felt like maybe I was worth looking at just as I am right now. Not as I might be when my life is complete, but as I am today." The light patterns on her skin grew a little brighter. They were still much dimmer than they had been yesterday, but they were definitely there. "That's exactly what I meant," Taeho said. "You are worth looking at today. You're worth knowing today. You don't have to wait until your life is over to be beautiful." Just then, they heard voices coming from the direction of the alien city. Velanira's light patterns immediately went dark again. "My people," she said, sounding scared. "They have come to take me away from you." Taeho looked and saw a group of aliens approaching. These aliens looked younger than Ketharin, but their light patterns were angry reds and oranges. "Velanira," one of them called out. "You must not speak to the Death Speaker. You will make the curse stronger." But as they got closer, one of the younger aliens stopped and stared at Velanira. This alien's skin showed patterns of blue and green, colors that Daun had said meant curiosity and confusion. "Your lights," the young alien said to Velanira. "They came back while you were talking to the human." The other aliens looked at Velanira's skin. Indeed, faint light patterns were moving across it even though she was trying to hide them. "How is this possible?" one of the older aliens asked. "The death-touched cannot show life lights." The young alien with blue and green patterns looked at Taeho. "What did you say to her?" Taeho looked at Velanira, who nodded slowly. "I told her that humans see beauty in living things," he said. "I told her that she doesn't have to wait until death to be beautiful." The young alien's pattern shifted to bright gold and silver. "You mean, you find beauty in things that are still changing, still growing?" "Yes," Taeho said. "We find beauty in the process of living, not just in the completion of life." The young alien was quiet for a moment. Then he said something that shocked everyone. "I would like to understand this human way of seeing beauty." The older aliens turned on him immediately. "Nexalar," one of them shouted. "You cannot speak such things. But Nexalar's light patterns remained bright. Why not? If their way of seeing beauty can bring light back to one who is death-touched, perhaps it is worth understanding. The argument that followed was fast and musical and completely incomprehensible to Tejo. But he could see that the young alien named Nexalar was defending something, while the older aliens were getting angrier and angrier. Finally, the older aliens grabbed Nexalar and started dragging him away. As they left, Nexalar called back to Tejo. "At your trial," he shouted, "remember that some of us want to learn new ways of seeing." When they were gone, Velanira turned to Tejo. Her light patterns were brighter now, almost back to their normal strength. "You have done something dangerous," she said. "You have made one of..." The trial was set to begin at sunset. Tejo spent the day preparing with Daun and Boram, but his mind kept returning to his conversation with Velanira. The way her light patterns had come back when he explained human ideas about beauty. The way young Nexalar had asked to learn about their way of seeing. Maybe this trial was about more than just his mistake. Maybe it was about two completely different ways of understanding life itself. As the sun began to set, the humans walked to the neutral ground between their colony and the alien city. A large group of aliens was already there, arranged in a circle around a raised platform made of the same growing crystal as their buildings. Kethron stood on the platform, his ancient skin showing slow, dark patterns. Beside him stood 3 other older aliens who would judge the trial. But what caught Tejo's attention was the group of younger aliens standing at the back of the circle. Their light patterns were different from the others. Brighter, more active, full of colors he had never seen before. "The trial of understanding begins," Kethron announced. His voice carried across the gathering without need for amplification. "Kim Tejo of the humans stands accused of speaking death words to our daughter, Velanira. He claims innocence through ignorance." Tejo stepped onto the platform, his legs shaking slightly. He had practiced what he would say, but now, facing this crowd of alien beings, the words seemed small and weak. "First," Kethron continued, "you must prove you meant no harm." This part was easier. Tejo spoke about how he had come to this planet, hoping to learn about the alien people. He talked about his excitement at finally meeting them face to face. He explained that in human culture, calling someone beautiful was a way of showing respect and appreciation. The older aliens listened without reaction, but Tejo noticed that the younger ones were paying close attention. Their light patterns shifted and changed as he spoke. "I believe you meant no harm," Kethron said when Tejo finished, "but intention does not undo damage. You have passed the first test, but barely. Second," another judge said, "you must prove you understand what your words meant to us." Tejo explained what Daun had discovered about alien culture. He talked about how beauty was reserved for the dead, for those whose life patterns were complete and could finally be admired in their wholeness. He admitted that he had not known this, and that he was sorry for the pain his ignorance had caused. "You understand correctly," the second judge said. "You have passed the second test." But then Kethron raised one hand and the gathering fell silent. "Now comes the third test," he said. "You must prove that you truly value life over death. But before you speak, there is something you must know." The crowd of aliens parted, and Velanira walked into the circle. Gasps rose from the alien gathering. Her skin was bright with light patterns, not the dark, lifeless gray she had shown that morning, but patterns of blue and gold and silver that moved like living water. "Velanira was declared death-touched yesterday," Kethron announced, "but today her life lights have returned. This should not be possible." One of the older aliens pointed an accusing finger at Velanira. "She has been speaking with the humans. She has been poisoned by their ideas." "Is this true?" Kethron asked. Velanira stepped forward, her light patterns growing even brighter. "Yes," she said clearly. "I have been learning about the human way of seeing beauty." Angry sounds rose from many of the aliens, but the younger ones moved closer, their own patterns bright with curiosity. "And what have you learned?" Kethron asked. Velanira turned to look at Tejo, then back at her people. "I have learned that there might be beauty in being alive. Beauty in changing and growing and becoming. Beauty in the moment, not just in the ending." "Lies," shouted one of the older aliens. "Life cannot be beautiful because it is incomplete." But then something unexpected happened. Young Nexalar pushed through the crowd and stepped onto the platform. "What if we are wrong?" he said loudly. "What if our way is not the only way? The gathering erupted in angry voices, but Nexalar continued speaking. I have watched the humans for months, he said. They find joy in small things. They celebrate beginnings as much as endings. They see beauty everywhere, in their children and growing plants, in each other's faces when they are happy or sad or excited. These are the thoughts of a young fool, said one of the judges. Are they? Nexalar asked. Look at Velanira. Yesterday she was death-touched, her life light's gone. Today she glows brighter than any of us. How do you explain this if not by the power of a new way of seeing? More young aliens began to speak up. They talked about things they had noticed about the humans that they had never understood before. How the humans seemed happy, even when their work was not finished. How they sang while they worked, as if the work itself was worth celebrating. Kethron raised both hands for silence. This trial is about the human, not about our ways, he said sternly. Kim Teho, prove that you value life over death. Teho looked out at the crowd of aliens. Half of them were angry and wanted him punished. But the other half, mostly the younger ones, were looking at him with hope in their glowing patterns. I can't prove it with words, Teho said finally, but I can show you. He stepped down from the platform and walked to where Velanira stood. The crowd moved back, afraid that he might curse someone else. When I first saw you, he said to Velanira, I saw the way you moved like flowing water. I saw how your light patterns changed with your emotions. I saw intelligence in your eyes and grace in your movements. All of that was beautiful to me, and all of that was alive. Velanira's patterns grew brighter as he spoke. When I look at your young people, Teho continued, turning to face Nexalar and the others, I see curiosity and courage. I see minds that want to learn and grow. I see beings who are not finished becoming who they will be, and that makes them beautiful. Several of the young aliens' patterns flared with gold and silver. When I look at your elders, he said, facing Kethron, I see wisdom earned through long life. I see the beauty of experience and knowledge. But I also see that they are still alive, still thinking, still capable of change. That makes them beautiful too. He turned to address the entire gathering. Humans don't wait for death to see beauty, because we believe that life itself is the most beautiful thing of all. Yes, living things change. Yes, they are incomplete, but that's exactly what makes them wonderful. A finished thing cannot grow anymore. A completed thing cannot become anything new, but something that is alive. He gestured to all the aliens around him. Something that is alive can always surprise you. The gathering was quiet now. Even the angry older aliens seemed to be thinking about his words. You want me to prove I value life over death? Teho said. Then let me make a choice. He turned to Kethron. If you still think I should be punished for my words, then punish me. But don't declare Velanira death-touched anymore. Don't punish your young people for asking questions. Let them learn and grow and change. Let them be beautiful while they're alive. Kethron stared at him for a long moment. You would accept punishment to save others from consequences you caused? Yes, Teho said without hesitation. Because that's what living beings do. We protect each other. We sacrifice for each other. We find beauty in caring about someone else more than ourselves. The old alien was quiet for so long that Teho began to think he had failed. But then Velanira did something that shocked everyone. She walked up to the platform and stood beside Teho. If you punish him, she said to her people, you must punish me too, because I have chosen to see beauty in his way. I have chosen to find value in being alive and changing and growing. Nexalar immediately joined them on the platform. And me, he said. I choose the human way of seeing. One by one, other young aliens stepped forward. Not all of them, but many. Soon there were 15 young aliens standing with Teho and Velanira, their light patterns bright with determination. Kethron looked at this group of rebels, then at the older aliens who were demanding punishment, then back at Teho. You have created division among our people, he said finally. No, Teho replied. The division was already there. I just helped some of your people find words for what they were already feeling. The old alien was quiet for another long moment. Then, to everyone's surprise, his own light patterns began to change. The dark colors lightened to blue and green. Perhaps, he said slowly, it is time for our people to learn new ways of seeing. But before anyone could respond, one of the other judges stepped forward. This is madness, he declared. Kethron, you cannot let these strange ideas poison our young people. We have lived by our ways for thousands of years. And in all those thousands of years, Velanira said quietly, How many of us have ever felt beautiful while alive? The question hung in the air like a challenge. How many of us, Nexalar added, have ever been happy just to be who we are today, instead of always waiting to become complete? The judge had no answer for that. Kethron raised his hands once more. The trial is concluded, he announced. Kim Tae-ho has proven all three things required. He meant no harm. He understands our ways, and he has shown that he values life above all else. Relief flooded through Tae-ho, but Kethron was not finished. However, the old alien continued, this trial has revealed something larger than one human's. The Great Council began 3 days after the trial. Tae-ho watched from the human colony as aliens from across the planet gathered in the neutral ground between the two settlements. The meeting place had grown overnight, literally grown, as the aliens shaped new crystal platforms and seating areas from the living rock of their world. There must be thousands of them, Boram said, standing beside him. They could see the alien gathering through their telescopes. The light patterns from so many aliens created a display like the northern lights, constantly shifting and changing. I've never seen so many of them in one place, Diane added. She had been recording everything for her cultural studies. This might be the biggest gathering in their history. Tae-ho felt nervous. The trial had gone well, but this was bigger. This was an entire species deciding whether to change beliefs they had held for thousands of years. Whatever happens, he said, at least we tried to understand each other. That evening, Velanira came to the human colony. She was not alone. Nexalar and 12 other young aliens came with her. Their light patterns were subdued, showing worry and uncertainty. The council is not going well, Velanira told them. The older ones are winning the debate. They say that our ways have kept us peaceful and stable for countless generations. They say that human ideas will only bring chaos and conflict. What do the younger ones say? Tae-ho asked. We argue that growth requires change, Nexalar replied. We say that being stable is not the same as being happy. But we are young, and our words carry less weight. There is something else, Velanira said, her patterns darkening. If the council decides against new ideas, they will not just forbid them. They will punish anyone who has already embraced them. What kind of punishment? Boram asked. Exile, Velanira said simply. We will be cast out, forbidden to return to our cities or families. Tae-ho felt sick. This is my fault. I should never have called you beautiful. No, Velanira said firmly, her patterns flaring bright. You gave me something I never had before, the ability to see value in my own living existence. I will not give that up no matter what my people decide. Nor will I, Nexalar agreed, even if it means exile. The other young aliens nodded in agreement, their patterns showing determination mixed with sadness. That night, Tae-ho could not sleep. He walked to the edge of the colony and looked out at the alien gathering. Even in the darkness, he could see the glow of thousands of light patterns as the debate continued. Dawon found him there around midnight. I've been thinking, she said. Maybe there's another way to help them understand. What do you mean? The older aliens keep saying that human ideas will bring chaos. But what if we could show them that beauty in life actually brings peace and happiness? How? Dawon smiled. By showing them what happened to Velanira. She was death-touched, her lights completely gone. But when she learned about human ideas of beauty, her lights came back brighter than ever. That's not chaos, that's healing. Tae-ho thought about this. You think we should ask to speak at the council? I think Velanira should ask to speak. And when she does, she should tell them exactly what she experienced. The next morning, Velanira agreed to try, but when she approached the council gathering, the guards turned her away. The death-touched may not speak in council, they told her. Even if your lights have returned, you are still marked by the death curse. Then I'll speak for her, Tae-ho said. Humans may not speak in our council, the guards replied. It seemed hopeless. But then young Nexalar had an idea. What if the question itself is wrong? He said. The council is debating whether to allow human ideas. But maybe they should be debating what they learned from watching those ideas work. I don't understand, Tae-ho said. Velanira was dying inside. That's what being death-touched really means. Her life lights went out because she had given up hope. But when she learned to see beauty in her living self, she came back to life. That's not a human idea anymore, that's a proven fact. Velanira's patterns brightened with understanding. He's right. The question is not whether to adopt human beliefs. The question is whether to ignore something that clearly works. That afternoon, the young aliens made their move. As the council debated, Nexalar stood up and asked to present evidence, not arguments. Kethron, who was leading the council, looked surprised. What evidence? The evidence of Velanira's recovery, Nexalar said. The older aliens protested immediately. She may not speak. She is death-touched. But I may speak, Nexalar replied. And I can describe what I witnessed. Kethron considered this. You may present your evidence, but keep it brief. Nexalar began to speak, but not just with words. As he talked, his light patterns changed to match what he was describing. He showed the council how Velanira's patterns had looked when she was first declared death-touched. Completely dark, lifeless, gray. Then he showed how they had looked after she spoke with Teho, faint at first, then growing brighter. I saw her lights return, he said, not because she was dying, but because she was learning to live. Then, without asking permission, Velanira stepped into the council circle. Gasps rose from the gathering, but Kethron held up a hand for silence. You were forbidden to speak, he said to her. Then I will not speak, Velanira replied. I will only show. What happened next took everyone's breath away. Velanira began to glow with the brightest, most beautiful light patterns anyone had ever seen. The colors flowed across her skin like living art, gold and silver and deep blue and brilliant green. The patterns told a story without words. They showed sadness turning to hope, darkness turning to light, death turning to life. This is what I learned from the humans, she said finally. Not their ideas, but their gift. The gift of seeing beauty in the moment I am living right now. The council was completely silent. Even the oldest, most traditional aliens stared at her in wonder. I have never seen patterns like these, whispered one of the elder judges. Nor have I, agreed another. Then Kethron did something that shocked everyone. He stood up and walked to where Velanira stood. For a moment, the two aliens looked at each other. Then the old alien's own patterns began to change. Child, he said softly, you are beautiful. The words sent a ripple of shock through the gathering. An elder had just called a living being beautiful, something that had never happened in their recorded history. Yes, Velanira replied, her patterns growing even brighter. I am beautiful. Right now. While I am alive and changing and growing, I am beautiful. One by one, other aliens began to stand. First the young ones, then some of the middle-aged, then even a few of the elders. They looked at each other with new eyes, seeing not just future potential but present reality. We are all beautiful, Nexalar said, his own patterns blazing with joy. While we live, added another young alien. While we change, said a third. Soon dozens of aliens were glowing with bright patterns, celebrating their living beauty for the first time in their lives. But not all of them joined in. About half the gathering remained seated, their patterns dark with disapproval and fear. This is madness, declared one of the conservative judges. You are abandoning thousands of years of wisdom for the strange ideas of aliens. No, Kethron said, surprising everyone again. We are adding new wisdom to old wisdom. We are learning to see beauty in both life and death, in both change and completion. The conservative judge stood up angrily. I will not be part of this madness. Any who share my views, come with me. We will build a new settlement far from these corruption influences. About half the aliens rose and followed him, but the other half remained, their patterns bright with newfound joy and wonder. Kethron watched the conservatives leave with sad but determined patterns. So be it, he said. Let each choose their own path. He turned to address those who remained. We will learn new ways while keeping the best of our old ways. We will see beauty in life and in death, in change and in completion, and we will work with our human neighbors to understand what other gifts we might share. Teho felt tears in his eyes as he watched from the colony. What had started as a simple compliment had grown into something that changed an entire civilization. That evening, Velanira and Nexalar came to the human colony to celebrate. They brought news that the remaining aliens had voted to establish a joint research station where humans and aliens could study together. What will you study? Boram asked. Everything, Velanira said, her patterns dancing with excitement. How to find beauty in small moments. How to celebrate beginnings as well as endings. How to be happy with who we are today while still growing toward who we might become tomorrow. As they talked, the sun began to set. Twin suns, actually. Kepler 442b had two stars that set at different times, creating a double sunset that painted the sky in impossible colors. In the old days, Nexaler said, watching the display, we would have said this sunset was just a temporary moment, not worthy of attention because it was not permanent. What would you say now? Tejo asked. Velanira smiled, an expression she had learned from watching humans. Now we would say it is beautiful because it changes. Beautiful because it will never be exactly the same again. Beautiful because we are here alive to see it together. She paused, then added something in her own language, a word that sounded like music and flowing water combined.